Julien, there you are. How was Paris? How was this evening? How are you?
Good morning, Max. I am doing great. I would be lying if I said I've been waiting all week for us to have this conversation, but I've been truly waiting all day for us to have this conversation. I'm sure that
I'll take that. That's more than I deserve, certainly. Good news is I have a story, so your wait is over. It's from Terry Gorman, so it's a real story. I think it's told the second best way you can tell a CX therapy story. Instead of on the couch, it was told over a beer. So I think that's a good way to deliver a story.
You know what? That could be a theme for season 4. Instead of a CX therapy, or it would be a CX beer therapy of sort in a bar. Let me think it through.
That might be good. Given that we do these early my time, it may be rare that I actually have a beer doing that, but we'll see. So Terry owns a car, surprisingly enough, and he went out to start it one day and it didn't start. And he was able to jump it and it worked, but it was kind of sketchy. So he took it to the mechanic, and the mechanic took a look, and there was some weird short going on. It wasn't anything straightforward. Charged the battery, and the battery just started draining again. So he asked if he could keep it, and he kept it. And like the next day, he said, "There's something going on in the door," and it's not even all that new of a car, but it's got, the electronic locks and all that. Apparently there's a lot. I didn't realize how much electronics there is in a car door now. And so they did some more troubleshooting. It took a couple days because I guess they troubleshoot it and they had to let it run down and all of that. And it wasn't there. There's like a switch in the door. And it wasn't that, which was good, because that switch was thousands of, a $1,000 part or something like that. So it was going to be $1,000 plus there was a lot of labor doing all this troubleshooting and everything. And then they looked a little more, and he'd had the car like 5-6 days because this was a really tricky thing to troubleshoot. And he said, "You know what? This car's been tampered with. Something is going on." We actually looked at the key, and somebody had been hacking at that with a screwdriver or something. Somebody had tried to break into his car, had failed, but in the process, the electrical stuff on the lock was ruined and was draining. So that sucked. So my friend was kind of like, "Ugh," and then he's like, "It's going to be like $1,500 to repair this," which was, but he needs a car. So he was kind of doing that. And the mechanic said, "You can go to the insurance with this." I was like, "Oh." So now he goes to the insurance. You're smiling. Now he goes to the insurance company and says, my car's been broken into. The mechanic will vouch for it. Is this covered? Yes, absolutely, it's covered. And you must have us come out to look at the car. He's like, "Car's been in the shop a week. I need my car." "Well, we have to look at it." Okay, when today can you go look at it? "Oh, we can look at it Tuesday next week." He's like, and I'm the kind of guy I'd be kind of like, oh well, okay. But my friend's just like, "No, you're not doing that. I'm having him fix the car. I'm going to do it. I'll keep the part. You want to look at the part? You can look at the part." And they were fighting him. He's like, "No, we're not going to cover this if you don't do that." And he's just finally like, "Look, I haven't had my car for a week. It's not my problem that somebody broke into it. This is, you got to figure out. I will give you whatever you need for documentation, but I'm not waiting to do the repair." And he had the repair done. He's got his car. Life is good. And as far as, at that point, the insurance company had not paid, but he had no reason to think they weren't going to. So that's the whole story. It's kind of a quick story, but there's kind of an interesting, I don't really see any customer story around the shop. I mean, it was a hard thing to troubleshoot, and that's a bummer. But but then the insurance, just the like, no, we want you to live without your car for a week so we can take a picture of it and document it.
I actually see, I do see a story with a shop, and I do see a story with the insurance. And surprisingly, for once, not going to say that the insurance is right, but I tend to understand why they're doing what they're doing. So I don't know where to start. I have a common theme here. And the common theme is any shop or insurance that's telling you we're going to have to take your car for at least 48 hours. I don't know where I would place a cursor, whether it's 24, 48, 72, I don't know. But let's say 48. If you are going to take my car for 48 hours, fine. Provide me with a replacement. That's so
fair enough,
obvious, and I don't understand why it does not happen. I mean, the shop that tells you I'm going to need to keep the car for a few hours, and of course they don't have vision power that's going to tell them exactly what the problem is. They need to investigate. This is completely fair. But if it has been 2 days already, you still haven't figured it out, chances are it's going to take a little while. Why don't you? I mean, you are a garage store. You have cars. That's what you do. You must have a replacement car your customer can use for the next few days. Now, the same thing applies to the insurance company. You're telling me you can come before Tuesday, which, by the way, by my standard, is a pretty good offer. Usually the insurances I deal with are, okay, so in 3 months' time, what are you doing on Friday at 8 a.m.?
Okay.
But I understand. I mean, much better than what I've experienced in the past. But still, next Tuesday is next Tuesday. We're not next Tuesday. I have a problem today. Can you fix it? I also do understand that insurances may not have someone next to your home ready to show up tomorrow morning because you have a problem. It's the same as contact center, managing the demand and the offer, managing
right.
people.
You know what? And now that we're talking, I missed a detail. He offered to take pictures, and they were like, no, we need our person to be there. And they may have backed off on that eventually, but that was,
But even then, I can understand they're not necessarily wrong, but then they should make it easy for people. I mean, if you are saying it's going to be the day we pick, it's going to be the person we pick, it's going to be the location we pick, fair, but give me an option. I can't wait for you guys for another week or two without my car. I do need my car. Provide me with a replacement, free of charge, obviously, for the next few days, and then everyone's happy. They get what they need. They ensure they don't get any fraud, which is obviously what they're trying to prevent here by sending their own people. And then your friend gets something to use to go to work or grocery shopping or whatever he uses his car for. To me, that the very obvious pick. I don't understand why they don't even suggest this. Neither the store nor the insurance comes up with that solution. And it's all about the service, right? Because ultimately, what do you want from your garage store? You want them to not screw you up. You want them to fix your problem, but you also want them to be nice, to not give you the car dirtier than it was when you came, but if they could even clean it up a little, hey, fantastic. Provide, all the service that makes it special. And that sounds like an obvious element of the service that's missing. Now, is it a US thing? Because culturally in France, I believe most of the time they would provide you with a car, but I may be wrong. I had some serious problem, but not that many problem. How is it in the US usually?
Yeah, it is a little different here. I was going to comment on that. If you go to the dealership, they typically have loaner cars. Because it's a big organization and they're selling cars. So they have cars more on the high end. And my gut says it's not usually free. It may be a very cheap rental, but in a lot of cases they would charge. I think it's one of those things where there's a charge, but then they're like, hey, we're really sorry, we'll give you this for free, one of those kind of deals. But the smaller just repair shop tends to be a very small, lean organization with 3 or 4 total people, and they don't have cars. They just don't have the bandwidth for that. They're smaller, tighter operations than that.
All right, maybe a shot.
But the insurance company, absolutely. If they really want it, they've got the resources to provide a loaner, no problem.
And I understand why they would be suspicious. First of all, they probably get tons of fraud requests from people trying to get money, even though I'm pretty sure they fuck more people than they get fucked by people.
True.
That's a different story. So, but I can understand, especially the problem that your friends seem to have is so specific. How often does it happen that someone tried to get in the car with a screwdriver or whatever through the keyhole and managed to damage something that's going to drain the battery? No picture is going to prove that this is true. Getting the parts.
Yeah, fair enough.
I understand why they want to check it. I just don't understand why they don't make it convenient. I mean, that's true with any customer experience. If you need something from your customers, make it simple, right? Same thing as filling a survey. Were you happy with the service? NPS. Can you give us your feedback? This kind of stuff. If you make it complex with, what was it with your father passing, I believe, where you had that 15 pages paper form.
Oh my gosh, yes, the cemetery.
If you want people to give you feedback, make it easy for them. If you want people to follow your crazy guidelines, make it easy for them. That's a basic of customer experience.
Yeah, well, if you want people to do things with you, make it easy to buy, right? That's why Amazon owns half the world now. Oh, that's what I want. Click. Oh, I ordered some stuff. I ordered stuff on Saturday and it came on Sunday, which to me is just,
too much.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was great, but just was, I think you're right. Convenience is clearly an important thing here. If you're going to be doing something like repairing cars or paying for cars, and there are going to be times where people need the cars, then you need to have some way for them to be able to get around. And I don't think you can lay that on a local repair shop in the US, because they're just not, the way that market is. It's too price competitive. The incremental cost of making sure you've got a car around and all the insurance and liability that goes with that, I don't think it's practical. But the insurance company, that should have just been hey, we want that car there. We will, here's where you go get your loaner. It's all set up for you. Just go. That should be an absolute simple no-brainer.
That's what makes a big difference between a repeat customer. We've talked and a one-off customer. We've talked about this in the past. Insurances are in such a difficult position because how often do you actually engage with your insurance? The day you sign for the insurance the first time, the day you have a problem. Those are the only two events. And the day you sign, you pretty quickly forget about who was the insurance in the first place. And the day you have a problem, you're not in a good mood anyway. You are in a stressful situation. Now, if they make that situation...
Actually, let me jump on that for a second, because there's actually a third event that you do, which is when you pay the bill. And maybe that's completely automated, but which, again, nobody loves paying bills. So you're right. It's all negative.
So what about being empathetic is incredibly important. What I would suggest, if you're good with that, I think we covered that topic. I have a topic for you, an incredibly short one and a positive one on a similar topic. And I'd love to share it with you next week. Are you up for that?
I think that would be awesome.
All right. Perfect. Well, hope your friend feels better about it. Again, put it back on the insurance company. They got to be doing better than this. And hope he gets what he needs down the line.
That sounds good. And Terry, I'll talk to Terry and we'll get a report back on how he feels. Hopefully he's better.
Perfect. Thank you, Max. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Julien.
Bye.